Hey, sister. Mwah. So, as you know, I've been curious for a while sort of what marriage entails legally, and so I thought I would do a little bit of research. So I did, and I learned some stuff, and I thought I would sort of like share it in a video. There's still a lot of stuff that I don't know, and I sort of like, this was useful for like figuring out sort of like on a broad scale, like what sorts of things end up in a marriage contract and what sorts of things I could look up and learn about later. So yeah. I think this is like important stuff to know regardless of whether somebody decides to get married, because if you are gonna get married, it's nice to know what you're agreeing to and sort of what you're signing over, and if you're not gonna get married, then it's nice to know what you're missing out on that other couples are sort of getting automatically because they're married. There's some stuff that if you don't like what is, in a marriage contract by default, then you can sort of make a prenuptial agreement to specify what you're gonna do. But there are like limitations on what you can put in a prenuptial agreement, apparently. So like some things you can't change, I guess. And yeah, and there's other stuff where like there's a default way of handling a situation if you're married, and there's a default way of handling a situation if you're not married, but you can make a separate contract to handle that situation. So yeah, so you can say like what you specifically want. And then there's other stuff where like it basically like there are some things that are inaccessible if you're not married, like you can't get them, and then there's other stuff that's inescapable if you are married, you can't sort of opt out. So that's good stuff to know about if you're like deciding whether or not to get married. Yeah. So here are some things that I learned are involved in a marriage contract. So taxes, I think everybody's kind of aware that taxes change with marriage. And I think this matters the most for a situation in which there's one person in the couple who's earning money and then the other one isn't, and then the person who's earning money can claim the other as a dependent, and then like that can save everybody money. I think it's less of a big deal if both partners are earning money. Decision-making benefits, so like when somebody's medically incapacitated, their spouse would make decisions for them by default, but you can specify that in a separate contract, I think. So you can say like, no, this person is actually responsible for making those decisions for me. Other things that I think you can take care of with a separate contract probably are like inheritance. I think you can take care of who inherits what via that, but there are defaults if you're married. And then equitable property division in the case of a divorce or a separation. Like, I think there's ways of handling that if you're not married, and then I think the prenuptial agreement could specify how to handle that if you are married. Also, probably sharing income, sharing income and sort of the property that's acquired during the marriage. There's stuff like marriage, like the marriage contract sort of specifies how that's supposed to happen. Then there's like responsibility for like financial responsibility for a spouse after a divorce. So I guess the idea is that like if there like it could be the case that one partner gives up certain career opportunities to help the other in their career, like by taking over like domestic responsibilities or other stuff. And so if that happens, then in the case of a divorce, it would make sense for the person who sacrificed career options to like get some support from the person who benefited from that. I don't think that's something that you could impose on somebody outside of marriage, but I don't know. And then I guess also involved in marriage is sort of liability for family expenses. So I don't know what exactly that means, but I guess you can say like, no, this person is responsible for helping me with this situation, I guess. But I don't know much about that. Some other stuff I don't understand the implications of are family rates for insurance, so I'm not sure how much that matters. I'm not sure if that's ever accessible without a marriage contract. Social Security, Medicare, disability benefits. So if you're married, you can collect that for your partner, apparently. And I don't know what that entails exactly. And then there's other like employment benefits, including medical leave and bereavement leave if your spouse gets sick or dies, which seems important and seems like not something that you could get without marriage, but I don't know. Another thing that probably matters a great deal is responsibility to support and the right to custody of children. So basically, if children are born within a marriage, there's like rules of who has what rights, and there's like a particular way of handling disputes for that. But if a child is born outside of marriage, then there's like wildly different ways of handling that situation. And apparently there are like contracts that can be made for guardianship of children, but I don't know to what I don't know to what extent you can specify how you plan to handle children if you're not married, or to what extent you can specify how you want to handle children if you are married and you don't want to do the like default thing. Yeah. And then all of these things apparently vary by state, by country, and it's not like, I don't know, like there's this the state that you marry in, and then there's the state that you're living in, and I don't know which one of those matters more to which aspects of the marriage contract. So that would be a thing to look into. Yeah. So that's some stuff I learned. I don't know, I thought this video would be helpful for me to like organize my thoughts and sort of understand what I learned, and I thought you would be interested. And if you are interested and want, like, I will probably do more research into this at some point and learn more things, and I could make more videos. I think that would be helpful for me. Yeah. So yeah, I mean, obviously there's like a bunch of stuff that I still don't understand, but I thought, I don't know, it would be nice to share what I learned. So I'm sharing what I learned. Yay! I love you a lot, little sister. You are awesome. Obviously this is not legal advice. Yeah. Okay. Bye.